This is Lair Media. To whom it concerns, welcome to the panel.
Good evening, everybody. It's Wednesday, the 11th of December 2024, and it's time for another edition of the panel here on learnmedia.tv. Press the red button on the right-hand side as you're looking at the programme to subscribe to our channel. Very much appreciated. All these programmes are found on our YouTube channel on YouTube, and all the contact details are on the screen. Good evening, Mary Honan, and welcome.
Hi.
Good evening, Tony Browne, and welcome.
And a good evening to you too.
Now, we were down at the Tipperary International Peace Conference during the week, and I suppose it's rather apt that people would be concentrating on peace because there's so much trouble in the world and wars going on, and it's only right and proper that we would look at ideas about bringing peace to those troubled areas. We'll be looking at that as well. We'll have one or two pieces from it. There was a tribute paid to Shane McGowan as well, you know, leader to prayer man at the conference, and I suppose some of the stuff he wrote was as much poetry as it was songwriting, because some of the stuff he wrote was just, in my opinion, was fantastic. I mean, that song, A Rainy Night in Soho, if you really look at the words of that, he reminded me a lot of Johnny Doohan. Johnny Doohan wrote poetry form as well, if you could describe it that way, in some of his songwriting, you know. But he was like that. We'll be looking at the carry-on of the state here, the Irish state, regarding the taking away of freedom from people, Irish citizens. I suppose the Gardaí this year signalled their absolute lack of trust in the Garda Commissioner at the Garda Representative Association meeting, if you recall, a couple of months back, back last Easter. They passed a conference of no motion in the Garda Commissioner, hitherto in the government's handling of the Gardaí, and also in the Minister for Justice, Helen McAtee. What did the government do since then to restore confidence in the Gardaí? They did absolutely nothing. Zero, zilch. And there's complaints and going on about the Gardaí, the lack of morale in the Gardaí. No wonder there's lack of morale in the Gardaí, when the majority of them said they don't have confidence in the Garda Commissioner. And the government did nothing about it through the Minister for Justice. I mean, it has been left to fester. If anybody knows any Garda and you talk to them, I mean, the picture they paint is one of a very poor management of the force. Anyway, we'll be looking at that. I suppose in the light of the arrest of a local independent candidate in County Kerry, she ran in the general election. And
Michelle Keane.
Michelle Keane is her name, if anybody was following her story. And
it's appalling. It's simply appalling, Pat, what's been done to her. She's in Limerick prison right now.
Yeah, we'll just take this clip a minute to fill in people who may not be familiar.
Good evening, folks. Philip Dwyer here, citizen journalist. Some disturbing news has come our way this morning, today. This lady here, Michelle Keane, for anyone who doesn't know her, was a candidate in the general election in County Kerry. She's been jailed this morning, remanded to Limerick prison. People have been in touch with me, people who are close to her, people who are familiar with what is going on. Still a bit sketchy, but again, it all sounds very, very, let's say, dodgy. And she appeared there in court this morning in relation to a case she is bringing to the returning officer there down in County Kerry in relation to something she witnessed in a rural polling station on the night of the election. And she made a complaint to the Gardaí as well, and very kind of disturbing what she's claiming she saw and everything else. So in other words, she saw people that she thought were rigging ballot papers. So coincidentally to that, on Friday, apparently, I'm told, she received an email from a female guard from Tralee. I don't know her name, but this female guard, from Sergeant, I think, phoned her about 6 months ago in relation to a tweet that she had sent, and she wanted a questioner on it. Absolutely absurd phone call. Michelle Keane recorded the phone call, rightly so, as she should be entitled to do, as the sergeant of the Gardaí is a public servant, should have nothing to hide. And the Garda in question, the female sergeant in question, looked for a court order to tell Michelle that she couldn't mention that guard's name publicly again. And she found herself in court today, and this Garda had said she had breached the court order, and a judge has remanded her in prison in Limerick jail. I can imagine the trauma for Michelle. I just imagine that woman has never seen the inside of a cell in her life. She's a hard-working mother, and absolutely disgraceful, folks. So I've been told now she's gotten herself proper legal representation, which I recommend everybody does, especially if you're at risk of being of losing your freedom and to be jailed. You need to get a good, proper criminal solicitor or barrister. That's my recommendation, folks, at all times. So she's got somebody, I'm told, and she's due to appear in court on Friday morning at 10 a.m. Now, I am going to do my very best to be there. I'd like to think that lots of people might turn up there to support her. This appears and stinks to me of politicisation of the Gardaí and politicisation of our judicial system and our criminal justice system, guys. Everybody who's able to get to Killarney District Court on Friday morning at 10 a.m, please go. I'm going to try and go there and report on it.
Well, that's a disturbing. It's a disturbing story, and there's more to the story, but we cannot talk about the other details because the court case is on Friday morning. But if anybody is interested in the story, you can go on to Michelle Keane's TikTok account, and you'll get more background to the story. It reminds.
Sorry, Pat, what you can mention is that from a TikTok that's also there from Michelle herself, she was on her way to the court at the time when she made the statement, and she was saying that if it's a thing that I lose and I end up in jail, I just want you to know, she had actually said it the day of the court case. Hundreds of people were emailing her and signing letters to say they all voted for her. But they can't understand where their votes went. And they said the amount of votes she got did not reflect the amount of people that had actually written into her and signed their names and said, we voted for you, we gave you number one. And she wrote, she was in the polling station, and she saw one of the people who's working in the polling station. She said she saw her taking at least 6 pages out of the book of ballot papers. Now, she said she worked for many years in the polling stations, and that they had to account for every page, and you were never allowed to remove any pages from it, and everything had to be accounted for at the end of the day. And when she did approach this person, she said the person became very anxious and nervous. And then she subsequently wrote to the guards, and she wrote to the head of the
returning officer.
The returning officer, and this is the outcome.
Well, it is very disturbing. Many people may not be aware of it yet. I don't know, will the national media pick up that story or not? I don't know, although you would think.
Well, Kerry Media has.
Certainly, Radio Kerry will have it in locally, but I don't know about national station, RT or Newstalk. I don't know will they carry it or not. I don't know. And as we're on that, I know what you think, Tony, yourself, about the freedoms that we have. We have a democracy. We can go out and vote. But that doesn't mean we have real choice in our choice to vote or who to vote for. After all, you could say, in the last 100 years, we have been ruled by either Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. That's the choice we have made in this country, in this democracy, in this country. So there you go. In my own case, my own personal opinion in County Clare, it was the first time I considered not voting in the election because I didn't see an actual choice that I had myself personally on the ballot paper, even though we had 20 candidates. We had Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Sinn Féin, Ian Two, the Irish Freedom Party. Then we had a plethora of independents who were ex-Fianna Fáil and ex-Fine Gael people. So, when you look at all the candidates, you don't really have a choice,
And ex-Sinn Féin.
Yeah. And so in Clare, we have 2 Fianna Fáil, 1 Fine Gael, and 1 Sinn Féin elected to the Dáil for the next 5 years. So there you go. But then people would say on the other side of the coin, to be fair, to be balanced, you have a free choice to vote. You can vote for who you like. You know what you think, Tony? Did you have a choice now, Tony? Did you think you had a real choice when you went in to scratch your ballot paper this time?
I did.
Yeah.
I had a good choice. I was listening to that report of that. He said a few little things that he should have known better. He's obviously very young anyway, because he said a lot of things there and I would have picked him up on. He was talking about the country could be political. That reporter that was reporting in that case.
Yeah.
Well, he said that the country could become politicised. But if he'd any cop on it all, he'd know it already is.
Yeah.
Who points the head of the guards?
The
Who
government.
points the judges?
The government.
Who points all the top cops? They're not appointed by the ordinary guards. So that's one thing he'd want to get straight, first of all, that he should know that.
I suppose what he was trying to get, the point he was trying to make was the Gardaí in enforcing the laws that are there and in keeping law and order and peace, they have to be seen to be impartial and seen to be fair and act that way as well. That's the point he was making,
But aren't they supposed to be, by virtue of its very name, guardians of the peace? When you see the way much of the, say, riots or protests or anything comes out, and the guards are involved, it seems anything but peaceful, and it seems anything but unbiased and for the protection of the people. It seems to be contrary to the notion of guardians of the peace. And it certainly doesn't seem as if a lot of the guards don't seem to be on the citizen side. They seem to be working hand in glove with the government.
That's my view. That's gone on since I was a child. That's well known. That's not anything new.
At least when people were children, and that you had a community guard that you saw, and you had some sense of fear of them because you, out of respect. Now I think it's a different sort of fear.
Community guard is only a new thing.
I always had a healthy respect for the Gardaí. I always had a fear that you were going to end up, if you did anything wrong, you were going to end up being taken in by the guards. But it was a healthy respect for the guards. Now you don't know that the guards are on your side at all.
It was forced on you. They were given that, and that suited the guards as well. That you were threatened, and you were afraid. That was and they enjoyed it. So all the guards that came to Limerick
made us feel if we did anything wrong, we'd end up in jail.
But the guards that came to Limerick hadn't a clue. They were from the back of Beyonds, mainly from County Roscommon. The biggest order of guards are from County Roscommon. They were coming into a city, they hadn't a clue what they were looking for. They were hoping they would. I met Limerick. The guards still haven't a clue.
I have to say, there's still a lot of very good. I have to say, there's a lot of very good guards, and I've encountered a lot of very good guards. Well, I can only call it as I see it. There are a lot of.
How have you encountered them?
You're not listening to me. I think there are a lot of people go into the guards for good reasons. A lot of them.
Money, employment.
A lot of them spend their time in there miserable because of what they see going on, and a lot of them become corrupt, and a lot of them are going for all the worst of reasons. Do you know?
If you don't like it, you get out.
Bad, Tony.
If you don't like it, it's like what's the saying they have in the kitchen? You just get out.
It's a job,
Tony. They're being
It's a
well
job.
paid.
It's a job.
Well, what do
Well
could I
paid.
just say? Could I just say something that
There's a lot of very good guards.
yeah, that's true. But in the old days, when I was growing up in the countryside, the Gardaí lived in the community. They lived in the parish. They knew who was who in the parish.
That was bad too, though, Pat.
In,
That was
Shan-
bad too.
in Shannon now, you'd meet the odd time guards looking for such an address in Shannon. They don't know the town they're
Yeah.
policing. They don't know who's who, and I think that's a negative. That is a negative.
They
There's no
did
doubt
have
about it.
those that did live in communities had an awful lot of power within that
You,
community.
you don't build up trust by not interacting with the community you're policing. You simply
A priest,
get
a
to know
local
them.
priest, especially a curate, has to live in the community where he administers. That's
Yeah.
well known. The
Yeah.
guards don't. I never in my life held a guard living in a built-up area, in a working class area. It just doesn't happen. They never will. The priest will. I know priests living up there. I could mention all different areas where I knew curates were living.
Well,
But you
we will
never
watch.
get a
We will wish Michelle Keane the very best, and we will
Absolutely.
watch with interest. And there's also
You'll all be aware of the story of a young teacher in Mayo called Enoch Burke. Enoch Burke is in prison now for quite a long time, partly because of his religious beliefs and partly because of breaking a court order. I am not here to start blaming anybody, but as far as I'm concerned, what started out as a joke to people and a bit of fun of a young teacher turning up at a school, not being allowed to teach, this now is at a very, very different level. It has gone way too far. The case of Enoch Burke needs to be resolved and must be resolved. This, at the moment, I'm sure, because he's in prison, is having a serious effect on his mental health. The same applies to his parents, and I'm sure the same applies to his family. So I waited until yesterday, which is 3 days from this general election day on Friday, to see if any candidate anywhere in the country would bring up the issue of Enoch Burke. Nobody did. So yesterday I released a statement which went to local media outlets, and I also contacted RTE. The statement was simple. In that statement, I proposed to RTE that they would ask the three party leaders last night on the debate that whichever one of them would become Taoiseach after the election, that inside the first 100 days they would commit to resolving the Enoch Burke situation. I also put it in that request that on receivership of that from the debate last night, that a simple question would be put to Enoch Burke, that to allow this process to take its course, that he would give a commitment that he would stay away from the school without using any legal terminology. A very simple question. RTE refused. They didn't tell me yesterday morning. They didn't say they would ask the question or they wouldn't. But we watched the primetime debate last night and the question wasn't asked. So here we have a situation where we have somebody who broke a court order in jail indefinitely. In Britain, there's such a sentence of some prisoners who does not have a release date, and are in prison at Her Majesty's pleasure. So Enoch Burke at the moment is in prison at the pleasure of the Irish government, or is it of the Irish president? But he's carrying out an indefinite sentence because he's broken a court order, he won perjurious contempt, because of his religious beliefs. Now, if this is the Ireland of today, where we cannot solve a simple problem like this, we could solve the Northern Ireland problem through the Good Friday Agreement. We've seen ceasefire between Hezbollah and Israel coming into effect today. But what's really damning, and it is a damning indictment by the outgoing government, that this has been allowed to linger on so long without any political or public will to solve this. So I am again calling on the incoming Taoiseach. And I'm also calling on the President of Ireland, Michael D. Higgins, to intervene in this case. We cannot have somebody in prison indefinitely for breaching a court order. And I'm also calling on the general public to support the call to resolve the Enoch Burke issue. And I would also say to you, remember before you cast your vote on Friday, I also requested that the party politicians in Mayo would contact their party leaders and issue a statement on this. Up to now, they haven't done so. I have also called on every independent candidate in Mayo to make a statement on the Enoch Burke issue. Up to now, they have failed to do so. So, before you cast your vote on Friday, you remember the quality of the people that you are going to vote for. Is this the Ireland that we want? Because voting for these people, all we ask them to do is make a simple statement. They haven't done it. And I think that is deplorable, to be quite honest about it. So remember that when you cast your vote on Friday, and the request is that the Enoch Burke situation must be resolved now.
Well, there's no doubt about it. It's going on way too long. Way too long.
Nearly 2 years. He's nearly 2 years in prison because he's nearly 2 years in prison for his Christian beliefs. You don't have to agree with the man, but if he was any other religious persuasion, we'd be considered racist or intolerant of other people's beliefs. But yet it's okay to be intolerant of the beliefs that most people in this country were brought up with, whether they followed it along the road or whether they gave it up and followed other religious views. It doesn't matter. Everyone's religious beliefs should be adhered to and respected.
There's a rally outside Mountjoy Jail. Most people know Mountjoy Jail on Friday week, the 20th at 4 p.m. In solidarity with Enoch Burke, and it's another shame. This thing,
they're making a martyr out of the man.
We're going on the way to that.
He's not going to give in. He's not going to give. His faith is more strong than any legal justice system in any country. It is so profoundly strong that he's not going to give in, and someone has to.
Don't forget to press the red button on the right side, subscribe to our channel. LearMedia.tv is our YouTube channel, and all the programs you can find them up there. Now, Tony and Mary. During the week, we had one of the stars, one of the main men in the entertainment industry in Ireland, passed away at the age of 88. We want Dickie. We want Dickie. We want Dickie. How often did you hear that in the ballrooms of Ireland, up and down? Dickie Rock, of course, passed away, and I saw him many times in different bands down through the years. But Tony is our resident expert. He's our own ballroom blitz here on a Wednesday night. Dickie Rock in the Miami. Dickie Rock in the original Miami.
Well, after covering the whole thing there in one flash, didn't you?
No.
Anyway.
I didn't write down who was in the original Miami. It was Murty Quinn in the original Miami.
Right. He was a trombone player, yeah.
Yeah, Murty.
Dickie wasn't in the original band. I have a photograph and Dickie isn't in it at all.
Yeah.
Then he came in as lead singer, but he was always a bit standoffish,
Yeah.
He went into the cabaret business.
Yeah.
I saw him in the Parkway, I remember. It's one of the last things the Parkway done.
Mary might find a bit of music by him there while we're chatting, Mary.
That's what
Might
I'm
find a
doing.
bit. Yeah. Go on, Tony, sorry.
But
Trying to.
he was, I didn't realise he was 88. I would
Yeah.
have put 82 or 83 on him, but I didn't
Yeah.
realise. And I remember his wife, Judy.
Judy.
And Dickie was always very thin. And then he used to do karate. He was funny. I remember another showman man told me that Dickie, he was on the first to wear a crown topper as well. He always wore a crown topper. Very well he had it done. That usually kind of fool you for a few minutes, you think it was his own hair. But he used to do all these karate moves on the stage. He'd be singing, chopping and changing, And I remember one night in Jetland, I didn't see it, but they said that he was doing the microphone. He was out swinging the microphone. He knocked the cigarette out of a fella's mouth with the microphone. He didn't hit him with the microphone, but he just swinging it and he could knock it out. But one night he was playing in a hall and he'd be doing these jumps around. He jumped up anywhere, and whatever happened, there was a wire overhead. He caught a hold to the two-pair. Pulled it off. And all he did was put his hand up, put back the two-pair, all in the space of about 5 seconds, and then back in the head again.
Yeah.
This man that played in the band told me, he said, I was looking with my mouth open. He'd never seen Dickie without the crown topper. But he saw him for about 5 seconds that night. But he always, as I said, wore a crown topper. Then his son was involved with one of those what they call those silly boy bands.
Boyzone.
For Boyzone, one of them anyway.
No, it wasn't Boyzone. It was the precursor to Boyzone. He tried to get into it. Another one was Louis Walsh.
He had a problem at the time, and anyway, and he didn't get the job. He's in that thing on the telly. He's Image of Dickie, actually. They often show a thing on television of the man, the late show with Ronan King doing this. He's like a fella in a high chair. And but he's in that, actually, doing all the stupid dancing. But I think as I said, he was never a very friendly fella now.
He's a very fit man. I agree with you there. He's very fit, very energetic. He's live show. And no matter where he went, I saw him in Majestic Ballroom in Mallow, for people who might remember that far back. And I saw him in the Star Ballroom in Mill Street. And I saw him in the Highland in Newmarket. That's where I saw him. But everywhere he came, he crowds himself and Brendan Boyer and the Royal Show Band, Big Tom and the Mainliners. And there was a handful of people, no matter where they played, the place was packed, absolutely packed. But they were, they were good singers. They had a good band as well with them, and they could produce the goods on the night musically as well.
I have a picture which I can't find of myself and Dickie Rock taken. I have it taken at the back of Jetland about 1964, I'd say. Just standing out the back.
You represented Ireland as well in the Eurovision?
I think it was about...
I need your touch, I need your love so very much. Since you went away.
And we're lucky he doesn't take it up all the time. But anyway...
Come back to see it.
Dickie had, I remember in Jetland, he had, he brought out a song one time, it was one of the best, it was an original song. And it never got anywhere because it was an original tune. Actually, I have it on a single.
My love, I need your touch. I need your love so very much. Since you went away, I cry for you each night and day. The day you went away, I said I didn't mind. Now I know that you have left a broken heart behind. Please come back to stay and promise me you'll never stray. I promise I'll be true and that I'll never make you blue. For no one else can take your place, your smile, your lips, your eyes, your face. Please, darling, oh please, come back to me to stay. Please come back to stay and promise me you'll never stray. I promise that I'll be true and that I'll never make you blue. For no one else can take your place, your smile, your lips, your eyes, your face. Please, darling, oh please, come back to me to stay. Oh, darling, please come back to stay.
I think our mics are
You were muted there, Pat,
yeah.
because we wanted to hear Dickie Rock singing.
I know. I was very insulted that you didn't let me sing with the music. But anyway, Dickie Rock was better than me in it. But I love that song. Great Old Memories.
Oh, it's a
And,
gorgeous song. It
Who,
was.
who was Ireland's first entry to the Eurovision Song Contest?
Butch Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
Butch
right.
Moore. But Dickie got second.
He did.
The
Butch
year he
were walking the streets in the rain, was it?
walking the streets. I
Dickie wasn't second. I don't think he was second, you know.
think
I
he was
He was
second.
fourth. He
I
was
thought he
fourth, is it?
Let's get up
He was
Wikipedia there, the Bible of everything.
He was in. He was in top. He was in the top 3 or 4 anyway. I think. Anyway, you're listening to their media. Listen to the panel here. We're every Wednesday night, and all the details are
He
on
finished
the screen.
fourth, Pat.
Fourth. I know. Yeah.
I knew he didn't come second.
In
Fourth.
1966.
And the other fella then, the other fella loved himself. What's his name? Fella from Dublin with the whole down, Sean something.
Sean Dunphy.
He came. I think he came third. I think he started moving up for a while.
They envy me. My hills are clear. That one.
Awful song. Yeah. Well, anyway, moving on.
If I could choose, is that Sean
If
Dunphy?
I could choose, that was gorgeous.
What about Pat McGeegan had a
Sean Dunphy was runner-up among 17 contestants, ranking highest ranking until Dana's victory in
What would you do
1970.
with that bloody computer in front of you?
Wikipedia. Dana won in 1970. Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't have known without Wikipedia, and it wasn't Wikipedia I was looking
I
up.
said it a while ago. He didn't come second. I knew that.
Fourth.
He did come. Well, Sean Dunphy came second.
And where did Pat McGeegan come? 6th or 8th?
Who?
Pat McGeegan. Do you remember Cathal Dunn, Tony?
He was Dick Lynch's. He was Jack Lynch's nephew. That's how he got on.
I know that, but his father was a principal in the Cox School of Commerce. You know, he went to Finland or one of those countries up there.
He ended up in America, but I think he's still alive. He must be about
Cathal Dunn was young. He was young when
Pat McGeegan ended up 4th behind Spain.
Pat McGeegan. They all did well. They all did very well. And the first female then was Dana, was it?
First female, first win that we had was Dana.
No, was she the first female entered for Ireland? I think she was. Didn't we put in your one after that, Sandy, or what's her name?
Sandy.
Kyolan.
She forgot her words.
It's an embarrassment, that song
I
was.
liked it actually. Aishtigi Kilusha McCree.
It was an embarrassment. Just like
why is it an embarrassment for the Irish to hold on to their language?
She passed away a few years ago, didn't she? I think.
Why is it an embarrassment to hold on to your culture and your language?
You're joking me. There's nothing to do with culture. No rubbish. They just wanted to be different with a stupid song.
No, they wanted to put in something that was representative of the Irish.
It wasn't. Didn't get anywhere. Came down in the bottom, I think.
Yeah, but she forgot. From what I remember, she forgot her lines, and she yeah. So, but I mean, the tune is one that you'll still remember, Tony.
But Dickie Rock had a few bands, Tony. Before going back to Dickie Rock, before he when he left the Miami, he had the Dickie Rock band, didn't he?
Well, but there was around in the Miami. First of all, they formed the Sands show band. What's he going? They formed the Sands first of all.
Yes.
He's not even listening. They formed the Sands show band first.
I heard you. Yeah, the Sands. Was Tony Kinney with them?
Who?
Tony Kinney, the butcher.
Was. And he then he formed a new band, the Dickie Rock band, and then he was gone. Then they became the Miami, but there was none really.
Well, before that, the Dickie Rock band had a Charlie Herbert on guitar, Stevie Gilchrist on bass.
Yeah, there were fellas who just picked up all them, you know.
PJ Coyne on drums, Fran Dennis on trombone, Bobby Murray on sax, and Johnny Riley on trumpet. I just wrote that down for my own information.
They didn't last long. They didn't that band, you know. And then the Miami, that's how Ronan Collins came into it. But you're talking about 1970 there now. The show band deal was kind of finished at that stage.
It was. I saw Dickie Rock and Cabaret in their Cock Opera House here. They're fantastic. He just put on a fantastic show. There's no doubt about it. He was a real entertainer. Entertainer, you know.
He was funny, like, you know. But as I said, he was he had always a high opinion of himself. You know, that other show band singers didn't have. You know, Butch Moore now was way more down to earth. I met Butch Moore in the Glenport when he came back from America after he run away with your one. What's her name? He went away. He left the man, Maeve Mulvaney. He went off with her to America.
Was it Maeve Mulvaney? She was a good singer.
Oh, she was a good guitar player as well. She was
a good singer.
He came back and I met him, and he remembered me in the Glenport. I didn't think he would. You know?
Yeah.
And Butch was nice, you know. But he's dead as well, so they're all dead. They're all dead now.
Most people we're talking about are dead, but it was. You had to live that time to understand how the show band thing was just a phenomenon. It was
a great time for us, you know, the dances.
From 1958 to 1969, roughly. That was the
okay. Silence now.
Come on.
We'll walk the road of life together, day by day, and I will love you every step of the way. The road may wind beneath the sky of blue or gray, and I will love you every step of the way. So only love step of the way.
So I have no idea now what. I have no idea what's after happening there.
I know what there was that was a big hit for Tiki Rock. Of course, the song that's synonymous with Tiki Rock, we won't play it now, it'll be too much up, but was the Candy Store.
Well, I was about to tell you one time you cut me off that his best song ever was a thing called Round and Around, and it never got anywhere. That was the finest single he ever. I have it on a single. I have.
Yeah.
And,
you have it on vinyl.
A what?
Vinyl.
Yeah, but it's the singles. I have about 50 to 60 singles. I have the first ones that ever came out.
Yeah.
And I have his first single actually was a song called "There's Always Me." That was his first single.
Yeah, a very good song too. Yeah.
And that's what kind of made the band in the beginning. They kind of got recognition. But Dickie, as I said, like he wasn't a very pleasant fellow, you know. And he didn't. What I say, I was a good opinion of himself. He had. Anyway.
He had a right. He had a right to Tony. He had a
great entertainer.
Great talent. A great crooner. I mean, if he was in any other country,
he'd have been an international star.
International star. Maybe not from his appearance, because
in the show band era, I suppose he commanded the stage. Dickie Rock. Brendan Boyer commanded the stage when he was on stage. So he owned it, and Dickie Rock did as well. The very few can do that. Brendan O'Brien, Joe Mack and the Dixies had the same energy about him on stage. You know, they're very good. You know.
And what Larry Cunningham?
Larry Cunningham was more of a quieter fella on stage. He wasn't the mover on stage. He was more quiet, you know. Yeah. But he was a good singer. Do you remember Jim Tobin and Firehouse?
House 5. What's his name was the sax player in that band? Johnny Cassidy.
Yeah? Oh, Johnny Cassidy.
Do you know him? Yeah.
I know Johnny Cassidy. I know Johnny Cassidy. Oh, God.
Senator Johnny.
Senator.
Yeah. Just because we didn't get, I suppose, and because of he dying, silence now, because I'm not going to put you on mute. I'll just play it.
What are you playing now?
Everybody tells me to forget this girl. Everybody tells me, but my head goes around and around and around. My head goes around and around. Everybody tells me she's no good for you. No matter what they say, my head goes around and around and around. My head goes around and around. My head says that I should go away. My heart says that I should stay. Should tell me to forget this girl, that no one should see me with my head going around and around and around. My head goes around and around. My head says that I should go away. Says that I should stay. I must make up my mind. forget this girl, that no one should see me with my head going around and around and around. My head goes around and around. My head goes around and around and around. My head goes around and around. My head goes around and around and around. My head goes around.
Well, there you are. That's Dickie Rock.
That was a lovely tune.
Is that the tune we're talking about, Tony? Is it?
It's got no better. What?
I'm not surprised. It didn't do anything for me.
No, I liked it. I liked the harmonies.
I liked most of his
Lovely song,
songs. I liked most of these songs, but you know,
No, I think that we've paid a fitting tribute to Dickie Rock, and may he rest in peace. And now let's take a little media here. This is the panel every Wednesday night, and we take a bit of a comedy clip.
As a Jew, we have a shitty time at Christmas because the whole world is gorgeous and green and red, and we're standing there going boo-hoo, and it's supposed to be equal. It is not equal. So I figured I'm 74 years old. Screw it. I'm going to have a Christmas tree. I had a Christmas tree 2 stories high, decorated. It was beautiful. It was fabulous. I got the whole scene at the bottom. I got the mother, I got the father, I got the 3 wise men, I got the kid. I'm Jewish. I got the kid and nanny. It was
That's the effervescent Joan Rivers. She was very good. Joan Rivers.
She was relentless. I mean,
I got the child and the nanny because I'm Jewish.
Because I'm a Jew, I got the child and nanny. But the thing about it is, she said later on in it that she dressed Mary up. She said she was in schmatz, and in Hebrew schmatz is rags. She was in blue schmatz, she said, and she said, I looked at her and I put Gucci, I put Mary Quant outfit on her and Gucci shoes and a handbag, and she said, I said to her, "You're the mother of God. Look it."
Joan Rivers didn't take herself too seriously.
Her grandchild recognised her one time. She came to the house. She said, she went to visit her granddaughter. She didn't know her. The only part of me that's real, she said, are my eyeballs. The rest is not.
She's talking about Cher being her best friend, and she said every time Cher they want to do anything with Cher's belly button, they've got to start at the top of her head.
I mean, she was very funny, Joan Rivers. It was a very sad death, but I mean, she's passed away now. But we remember her. We might take a few more clips.
She passed away in the strangest way, just an ordinary surgery that anyone would recover from, and she just didn't recover.
Yeah, that's very true.
She did do it,
She is, and now I alluded to at the beginning of the program before we run out of time that we were down at the Tipperary International Peace Convention, which is held every year, and they made the International Peace Prizes given out every year, and this year it was given, or last year, 2023, it was given to Medicine Sans Frontières, is it?
Yeah, Medicines Without Borders.
Yeah, my French isn't very good, but they're a very well-known group, and one of them was at the Peace Convention.
Oh, they do great work. They're all over the world, and they're all doctors and medics who give of their time free of charge.
Practicing, that's what they're doing. They're only practicing.
There was many people. Now, Tony, we had many celebrities contributing to this peace convention, including our own doctor.
I spent a Christmas season alone in his flat in Dublin. The poem is filled with nostalgia for rural farming and family life, and his memories come to us through Christian imagery from the story of the birth of Jesus Christ. Born in County Monaghan on October the 21st, 1904, Kavanagh died on November the 30th, 1967. A Christmas Childhood by Patrick Kavanagh. One side of the potato pits was white with frost. How wonderful that was. How wonderful. And when we put our ears to the paling post, the music that came out was magical. The light between the ricks of hay and straw was a hole in heaven's gable. An apple tree with its December glinting fruit we saw. O you Eve, were the words that tempted me to eat the knowledge that grew in clay, and death the germ within it. Now and then I can remember something of the gay garden that was childhood's again. The tracks of cattle to a drinking place, a green stone lying sideways in a ditch, or any common sight, the transfigured face of a beauty that the world did not touch. My father played the melodeon outside at our gate. There were stars in the morning east, and they danced to his music. Across the wild bogs his melodeon called to Lennons and Callums. As I pulled on my trousers in a hurry, I knew some strange thing had happened. Outside in the cowhouse, my mother made the music of milking. The light of her stable lamp was a star, and the frost of Bethlehem made it twinkle. A waterhead screeched in the bog. Mass-going feet crunched the water ice on the potholes. Somebody wistfully twisted the bellows wheel. My child poet picked out the letters on the grey stone. In silver, the wonder of a Christmas townland, the twinkling glitter of a frosty dawn. Cassiope was over Cassidy's hanging wall. I looked, and 3 wind bushes rode across the horizon. The 3 wise kings. An old man passing said, "Can't he make it talk, the melodeon?" I hid in the doorway and tightened the belt of my box-pleated coat. I nicked 6 nicks on the doorpost. With my penknife big blade, there was a little one for cutting tobacco. And I was 6 Christmases of age. My father played the melodeon. My mother milked the cows. And I had a prayer like a white rose pinned on the Virgin Mary's blouse.
We were asked, everyone was asked, it's a reflection every year for the Tipperary Peace Convention. And
what are we talking about?
They have people either reading a poem or reading a reflection. There was ambassadors there from different countries, and they spoke about peace.
Was Putin there?
No, Vladimir couldn't make it. He was making up the bed for Bashar al-Assad.
Oh, yeah.
It's organized by the Tipperary Peace Convention, and Martin Quinn, who has done remarkable work for many years. It's been going for many years. The very first
40 years this year.
I think John Hume was the very first person to receive it, and Mary McAleese received it, and Mary Robinson received it. And
people are being well paid. They're being well paid, all these people. Never give anyone anything that's been paid.
That'll be your philosophy. Yeah, I think there's some merit in that. Yeah,
you don't praise anyone that's a huge amount of money every week.
Yeah, but they do work outside of their.
We have a dilemma coming up in this country, Tony and Mary, that next year the president's term is at an end, and we'll be electing a new president. You thought about it?
I said that Bertie they'll put in a bit, Joe.
No, they won't put in a guy.
I'd be with Tony in that. I think Bertie is doing for it. They're constantly putting on things with Bertie being interviewed about this and Bertie being interviewed about that. I don't know if there's any truth.
They might put in Gerald Hutch.
I don't know if there's any truth in Hutch.
Gerald Hutch.
Oh yeah, he'd be a good president.
The monk,
he wouldn't rob anything. He'd leave everything as it is, I'd say now.
What's his
he,
name? What's his name? The I can't think of his name. He does the wrestling or the
Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor. There was talks that he was putting his name forward as well. Should be like,
He'd
yeah.
attract a lot of women. You see,
Yeah, he get the female vote. Would he get the female vote?
You're making a laugh at these people now, and I think that'd be good.
But there was talks, and I don't know if there's any truth in the rumor. Allegedly, there was talks that what's her name, with Sinn Féin, Mary Lou McDonald. There was talks that she might be going forward for it.
Yeah, before we finish, Mary Lou McDonald in an interview in the Journal, isn't Mary? She is suggesting that Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, should consider rejoining the Commonwealth.
But she's not suggesting it, and I have no great love for Sinn Féin or anything like them. But in fairness to her, she's not suggesting it, and she made it clear that this wasn't her suggestion, but that there are many within the party who feel that a united Ireland would be enhanced and quickened. That very soon there's going to be a poll for a united Ireland, and to get the unionists on board, that it would be a great idea if Ireland rejoined the Commonwealth. And I personally can't believe that I actually have see the point of it, but I do. And I see the point of it from, if you take our athletes, they would be able to compete at Commonwealth level. They'd be able to get funding from the Commonwealth game for the Commonwealth. They'd be able to get funding for their training.
GA get money from them now as well, will they?
No man's an island. I mean, and we are an island. We are an island, but we need people. And if we want to be a united Ireland, we have to try. We have to try and bring the unionists, the Irish unionists, along with us. Well.
And they want us all dead. Yeah, I would agree with you there.
They don't.
Just before we finish, we're going to go out in a piece of music. The program is on music all night. By another poet who passed away during the year. That was what's his name?
Dominic Carroll's alive.
No.
He's alive, and what's his name is alive. What poet died?
You're going to have to.
Your man with the Pogues. What's his name? Shane McGowan. And this is Shane McGowan from the choir of St. Albans and Rockwell College of Music.
Our friends grow up together, and we saw them as they fell. Some of them fell into heaven, some of them fell into hell. I took shelter from the shower, and I stepped into your arms. talking of the first times I ever think about the last. Now the song is nearly over. We may never agree. Still the light I hold before you. You're the measure of my dreams, the measure of my dreams.
This is Rare Media. To whom it concerns, welcome to the panel.